I'm Vivia Leigh. I'm the author of The Girl Who Cried Forgiveness and the owner of Birdie's Travel Spa.
Hi, I'm Courtney Ezel. I am a yoga instructor for Birdie's Travel Spa, and today we want to talk a little bit more about Vivia's book that she has recently wrote. You want to tell us a little bit more?
In this video, I'm sharing my story of following through with forgiveness with my dad. This is elaborated more in the book The Girl Who Cried Forgiveness During the War. If you want some advice and help on how to follow through with forgiveness with a sex offender, tune in. When I was 10, I was living in a small town in Minnesota, and we had everything. We had the big house, we had a bar in our basement with arcade games, we had amazing toys. Like, our toys were huge go-karts and four-wheelers and jet skis. My parents, they were that couple that everyone else had a crush on or they wanted to be like.
Yeah.
We just really embodied fun and community and invited that to our house, but it got pretty sketch. My dad started getting involved in a lot of things that we had no clue he was involved with. When I was 10, my dad molested me, and it was really hard. It totally refocused everything for me when I'd wake up and get ready for school. And I started seeing more about what was abnormal at home. After one of these parties, we had a family movie night. Usually it happens in the living room, but it happened in my parents' bedroom. I was sleeping in between my parents. This normally doesn't happen. We watched the movie. I used to watch the movie until the screen turned blue, and then I'd fall asleep. So the screen had turned blue, and I felt this hand on my thigh, and it was squeezing my thigh, and I just didn't understand what was happening, and I just froze, and a million thoughts went through my mind, and then the hand continued to molest me, and so I just froze, and I laid there in the bed, and I moved around a little bit, pretending that I was waking up from a dream. And I got out of the bed and I went to the bathroom for a few hours until I felt it was safe enough to go into my room for a few days, unless I had school. And I was constantly just thinking about what the heck just happened. My parents had split up because these parties were getting too loud, because the relationship with my dad, my sister, and I was getting to be, it was causing a lot of tension, though my mom didn't know why. There was just still that tension. And my dad, he was very theatrical at this time, and he was coming to celebrate his birthday and wanted to do it with all of us. We were trying to have some normalcy in the family. He came to my mom's new apartment. We were supposed to go out to eat at his favorite place, but he was just acting super weird. And we're sitting in silence, and in between it, my mom is just shouting, "What is going on? What happened? Where did this all get messed up?" And my dad started yelling and saying things like, it's fine. Nothing's wrong. And my sister out of nowhere shouts, "I could say one thing that would put you away forever." And that's, again, a trigger for me. I knew in that moment that I wasn't alone. And because of that, I knew that I had to step up and say something. And I can't quite pinpoint, I just know it was sooner than later. I went to my counselor at school. I said, "My sister doesn't want to say anything, but we need to." My dad touched me, and I had to write it down. I couldn't even say it to her. But I let her know, "You need to call my sister down to the principal's office instead of the counselor's office, or she won't come. And she needs to say what happened to her so this can stop." That's when court cases started their process in going to see the social workers. My uncle helped the police to get my dad. And I hadn't seen him unless we were in court since then.
How long was his sentence? How long did he get put away?
He was served for 12 concurrent years. I began public speaking to counselors, sharing my story with high schoolers. I had a variety of audiences. I was in a documentary film. I got roses, I received checks, and I just felt empty after all of it. I came to Kansas City from Minnesota. I was doing this really cool internship. And during the internship, someone was sharing their story on stage. And this man later became good friends. We later would have coffee with he and his wife often, which is crazy because this man shared his story as a sex offender on that stage about how each person that he had sexually abused in his cul-de-sac forgave him and how that set him free. That completely altered my perspective of my dad, and it made me think about him instead of thinking about me and this victim mentality. It made me think of his second chance and what he's going through, and my heart just became really heavy for my dad for the first time. I got the address to the corrections facility and I began to write him. My first letter was about forgiveness, and I just shared with him what I heard from that man. And I shared his story, and I simply said, it was one page, it wasn't even a full page, and I said, I forgive you for sexually abusing me when I was 10. And so we started writing letters back and forth. I eventually stopped writing him as it got closer to his parole. And when he got out, it was really hard. I was terrified. I was having so many panic attacks because I was actually living in the house next to my grandparents, where my dad was living after he was off on parole. And I was terrified of seeing him in passing. I was constantly thinking, what is going to happen now that he's out? So I'm now a psychology major, and it's been awesome. It's been really fun to just study different perspectives. I feel like I understand my situations that I've been in more so. I'll be receiving EMDR therapy. It helps to disassociate the trauma from the trigger. I'm sharing this because I want other people who've been victims of this, who want to forgive, who don't know how to. How thick should your boundaries be? What kind of therapy should you be getting now and later?
Yeah.
I'm learning, and as I'm learning, I want to help people to see what's been working for me. Maybe it'll work for them too.
Well, Vivia, it was really good to hear your story today. It's really strong and courageous of you to share your story and put it out there and not be afraid of any of it. If you guys would like to connect with us some more, hear more about our stories, get more info on us, feel free to connect with us on social media. You can find Vivia at vivialeigh.books, and mine is at First Comes Love Yoga with a 1. We would absolutely love to connect with you guys further. Just let us know if you have any questions or want to talk about anything. We are very open and ready to listen. So,
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Perfect.
That was terrifying.
Perfect, ladies. Perfect.
Thank you.